At just the age of 4, the Gait twins, Paul and Gary, began playing backyard lacrosse in 1971 with the Pepper twins, Grant and Greg, who lived just 2 houses away in Cordova Bay. Within a year, they were playing mini-type lacrosse in the Victoria organization at Stevenson Park. In their 3rd season, with Mr. Pepper as their coach and Mr. Gait the manager, the boys' Norseman construction team was the highlight of the 1973 minor lacrosse night at the Memorial Arena. Most of those boys moved over to play the next 4 seasons of lacrosse at the Brayfoot Park Box and won BC championships in the Tyke and Novice divisions. The Pepper and Gait dads then recruited some top-notch coaching from the Victoria Shamrocks, persuading Ron McNeil to sign on. Up to now, the Gait twins had been good players, but as they matured, their play really began to shine. Under Ron McNeil's guidance, the club not only won 2 BC Pee Wee titles, but also claimed the national crown in Peterborough. As bantams and later as midgets playing in the elite Intercity League under the Sea Sprays sponsorship, the Gaits continued to earn provincial and national silverware. During their Claremont High years, they both played school soccer, rugby, and basketball, where Gary made the BC High School All-Star team. They also played winter field lacrosse with the Sea Sprays Club, as well as for the Payless-sponsored Victoria team, which won the 1984 Canadian Field Lacrosse Championship. They kept their champions in every division record intact by playing on the BC Intermediate Field Lacrosse team that won gold at the 1985 Summer Games. The Gait boys skipped intermediate box lacrosse and jumped directly to the Esquimalt Legion Junior A team. They just turned 17 and had 5 seasons of junior lacrosse ahead of them. With Paul developing into a great ball hawk and setup player, Gary was the goal-getter. He was picked by the senior Shamrocks to help them in their bid to retain their Mann Cup title, and was a standout even though the Rocks lost in the final. In 1985, the Esquimalt Legion were first-place finishers in the BC Junior League. Gary led their scoring with 157 points, while Paul, who was hampered by a nagging wrist injury, earned only 101. Victoria swept the BC title and traveled to Whitby for a Minto Cup battle that saw the Easterners take the title in the 7th game of the series. Although Victoria lost out, Paul won the MVP award, and he stated, "We're looking to win every national title, and on our list is the Minto, the Mann, and an NCAA championship." Gary was on the 1986 honor roll as the BC Junior A League's most valuable player and the leading scorer with 157 points in 25 games when the Legion next advanced to the Minto Cup final. This time they were outdone by a change in the rules that allowed zone defenses back into the game and lost to Peterborough in the sudden death final. Even so, the Most Valuable Player award went to the losing side, with Gary collecting the title. That winter, Gary, now 19, was named Victoria's Outstanding Athlete of the Year, and the Legion was named Team of the Year. After being approached by several U.S. universities offering athletic scholarships for field lacrosse, the twins chose New York's Syracuse University. They were the first Western Canadian players to receive such an offer from a major Eastern school where field lacrosse was huge. But tradition dictated that freshmen receive less playing time on the 40-man roster, and the Gaits were used sparingly in the 1986 season, which saw Syracuse finish with 9 wins and 3 losses. But in the playoffs, where more than 200 universities vied for the NCAA lacrosse title, Gary scored 11 times in the quarter and semifinal games, and Syracuse finished 3rd. The Gaits helped their Legion squad make it to the 1987 Minto Cup final against Peterborough, where Paul had 29 goals and 29 assists in 6 games, and was the obvious choice as MVP. It was bittersweet, though, because for the 4th straight appearance in the Minto Cup final, the team came home empty-handed. Back at Syracuse, playing winter field lacrosse indoors at the Carrier Dome, the Gaits fired ball after ball into their opponent's net as their Orangemen won 15 in a row, scoring 261 goals with 102 coming from the Canadians. Their coach claimed they were the best midfielders in the game, and an opposing coach commented, "The only way to stop the Gaits would be to not let them cross the border." The Victoria Twins led Syracuse to the 1988 NCAA championship, with each scoring a pair in a 13-8 championship victory in front of a record crowd of 20,200. The fans also saw history being made as Gary's 2 gave him a new U.S. collegiate record of 70 goals for the season. He created more history with 2 controversial goals during the semifinal when he leapt into the air from behind the net and stuffed the ball under the crossbar. The Twins returned to Victoria for their last attempt at the Minto Cup, with accomplished coach Nirmal Dillon calling the shots. Along the way, there were more records broken when Gary scored 12 goals in 1 game. and with 8 assists that made it a 20-point night and another junior standard. Then in his last league game he scored 7 points to reach an all-time total of 623, topping Kevin Alexander's previous junior record by 5. There was no doubt as to who was the best in the West, as the Legion, who'd only lost 3 times in league play, hammered the Richmond Outlaws in the semis and demolished the Adanacs in the BC final. They clobbered Peterborough in the opening Minto Cup game at Memorial Arena and won their way into the final against Coquitlam with a 3-1 record. Their 5-year wait for a Minto Cup title ended with 2 decisive victories over the Adanacs. The Gait twins' prowess opened college opportunities for other BC players, and Tom Marichek joined them in Syracuse for another winning season and a second NCAA field lacrosse title. Then, for the first time since they began playing lacrosse, the twins separated when the Western League draft saw them sent to different teams. They ended up playing in the Ontario League, with Gary joining Brooklyn and Paul the Six Nations team. In 1990, they came home to join the Royal Waxmen and added a second Canadian Field Lacrosse Championship to their resume. After a third NCAA title with their Syracuse marketing degrees in hand, the Twins played a number of teams in the new Indoor Pro National Lacrosse League beginning in 1991 and went on to play in the Major Lacrosse League until 2005. They returned to the Western Lacrosse Association in '97. Paul played for North Shore, while Gary played with the Mann Cup winning Shamrocks. Gary and Paul were reunited for the Shamrocks' 50th season in 1999. True to form, they helped the Rocks win the Mann Cup and were named co-winners of the Most Valuable Player Award. After playing pro lacrosse until 2005, they wrapped up their careers playing for the Mammoths in Colorado's Pepsi Dome. Gary and Paul also played for Canada at the World Lacrosse Championships. Gary captured a gold medal in 2006, helping defeat the Americans for the first time since 1978. In addition to amassing a most impressive list of individual accolades and records, Gary and Paul Gait have also been great ambassadors for the sport of lacrosse and sport in general. Tonight, we proudly induct into the Greater Victoria Sports Hall of Fame twin lacrosse greats, Gary and Paul Gait.